My name is Fred Sultani. Most of you personally knows me as the Straight Edge Reviews owner, promoter, unboxer, and reviewer. However, there are those of you who knows me in the Mortal Kombat online community as the longtime fan and collector that is known as Fraysol. These are my Mortal Kombat collector videos. Please like, subscribe, share, and also hit that notification button to know when the next time a collector video comes available. Thanks. All right. I am Fraysol Tani with the MK Collector Fraysol, also owner of the Straight Edge Reviews. I have with me Paul. Help me pronounce your last name.
Niemeyer.
Niemeyer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Paul E. Niemeyer. I use the middle initial because my initial spelled pen, and that's kind of a cool thing for an artist. I don't know if my parents thought that out. But that really worked out well. Thanks,
yeah.
Mom.
Yeah, I have I have the thanks of my last name Sultani. People think that I'm Italian, and when I'm not really Italian, so it's one of those that you have to explain, and it's fun. It's interesting to tell people, and they hear the story. So
yeah, well, Niemeyer is it's as common as Jones, like in Northern Europe. It's funny because in our family, the other side of the family are the Myers, which is like Smith meets Jones in Germany.
Nice. Very nice.
It couldn't be more common named.
Yeah, I gotcha. Well, tell me about yourself. What you do nowadays, and with what video games now? Or do you do anything still with video games nowadays, or do you just do commission work now?
Well, yeah, actually, it's just commission work. I haven't really done any video game stuff in a long, long time. Really, I just started a project for Doc Mack at Galloping Ghost. Nice. And this is kind of an interesting story on how this all came about. I was doing a podcast in his studio, and we were talking about some of the games I'd worked on in the past, and I mentioned that when I was at Bally, we had customs officers come in and bust the place on 3 separate occasions.
What?
Yeah, we're like, yeah, I know you're thinking customs. What's customs got to do with video games? Well, back in the 80s, this is the early 80s, 82 to 84. The technology they were using on the video games wasn't much better than like military stuff. It was all kind of on the same par level. So they were, yeah. You ready for this?
Yeah.
When they went overseas to go and buy games, after they were flush with money from, Space Invaders and Pac-Man, and they were seriously flush with money. Boy, they were tossing money around like it was the 80s, baby. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
So they had in their head that all the best games were coming from Japan. So they're constantly going over there and buying all of these games and paying big bucks for them. So what was happening was spies were piggybacking. This sounds like it's right out of a spy movie. It's crazy.
It sounds like it, yeah.
Yeah, it's nuts. Spies were piggybacking information onto the hard drives and sneaking it into the country and video games.
Huh. I didn't know stuff like that occurred, or could occur, I guess.
Yeah. It was a big surprise for me. Working there. In 1982, I had a pass card that had a magnetic strip on it. I never seen anything like that in 1982. It was years and years later before anybody had them on a credit card. So we had them way before.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And every month just to get in the building, the pass code was changed. If you wanted to use the elevator to go to any floor, you had to have a code to go to the floor, and it was changed. It was need to have.
Wow.
If you were on a project, the project was issued an elevator code. and that elevator would only go to the floors that you were allowed to go to.
Wow. Yeah, that's like definitely some spy or espionage kind of stuff is what it sounds like. So.
Well, I found out early on that the only other industry that hires on more spies than the actual intelligence industry is toys and games.
Oh, what was that? Toys?
Toys and games.
Oh, okay.
Toys and games hires is the second largest employer of spies after the intelligence community.
Wow, did not know that.
Yeah, because there's so much money involved.
Yeah.
You got a hit game, bang.
Yeah, when you're okay.
Look at Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
Did you have a line on Mortal Kombat before that happened?
Well.
Yeah. Okay, which brings us to my ultra secret, which I'll share with you.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Is the first to hear about, or is this?
No, I've tossed it out on other occasions, but not. I mean, like I've mentioned at conventions.
Okay.
We do a Q&A at conventions, for that sit down. But I've never done it on an interview. So.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay, so here's what happened. When I was contacted by Greg Ferris, who was my former boss at Ballet back in 82, 84. And we all worked in the department for Paul Ferris. No relation. In fact, their names are spelled completely different, but they're pronounced the same, which is kind of confusing. But anyway, so Greg Ferris was my boss then. I left in 84, and I was freelance. So now we're going to fast forward up to 92, and he was working with Jack Hager and John Tobias and Ed Boon on this new fighting game called Dragon Attack.
Okay.
And they called me up, and here's the thing: John Tobias at the time was like maybe out of art school 15 minutes.
Oh wow.
So great artist.
Oh,
great concept guy. Amazing. He was super young at the time. I mean, like, okay, when I did Mortal Kombat, I was, 33, 34 years old. Wow. I'd been in the business a long time. I had 10 years under my belt, doing production art for all this stuff. Second nature to me.
Yeah.
You have to think about it,
Yeah.
So, but he didn't know squat-ola about putting production artwork together. He had incredible ideas, amazing concepts, and came with this game. And actually, it wasn't a game in his head. It was a movie that he, Dan Pacina and Carlos Pacina and all those guys, they all knew each other as kids.
Yeah.
And I got this story from Dan Pacina at dinner one night, and he said that they had been planning this kung fu movie. They wanted to make a kung fu since they were like 8.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so like the roots of Mortal Kombat go all the way back to when John Tobias and Dan Pacina and all those guys were kids.
Oh wow.
They wanted to make a kung fu movie. They were just enamored with Bruce Lee, and who wasn't?
Yeah.
He stormed onto
the
scene
thing back then. Yeah.
Blew everybody away.
Yeah.
I just recently got done doing some artwork for a possible kung fu reboot. The old kung fu series from the 1970s.
Oh, what David Carradine? That's
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Which I just adore. I adore that series. I mean, it was life changing for me. I was a little farm kid. I was growing up in the tiniest little farm town in the world, and I was out on the farm, so I wasn't even in town, in the tiny town. I was away from the tiny town,
Yeah.
So this show showed up, and it changed my life. It's like there's this, awakening to Eastern culture, and there are quotes from all sorts of different sources that were just blowing me away. You know, completely different, Sorry, I don't want to get too off subject here. But anyway, that whole, what I'm saying is that whole movement of kung fu and Bruce Lee and Enter the Dragon and everything that changed everything in the 70s when we were all kids, little kids, in some cases, but we kind of grew up with that whole thing. So it evolved, and it was almost like a natural progression of that Mortal Kombat happened to me. Anyway, Okay, so now let's fast forward 92. Greg calls me up, come to the meeting, got this new game, Dragon Attack. Sit down, we have our first meeting. It's Ed Boon, Jack Hager, Greg Ferris, John Tobias, and me. And we spent about an hour talking about the whole thing. And at the end of it, Ed goes, "Oh, almost forgot. We're changing the name to Mortal Kombat." I was like, "Oh." Literally, we've been talking about this game for an hour. And I'm writing like furiously and sketching, and we're talking about all this stuff. And he's, we're changing to Mortal Kombat. Oh, okay. So I wrote down Mortal Kombat, and he goes, with a K, like idiot. Well, of course, why wouldn't I think to misspell it with a K?
True. If like whenever I search on as I do my collecting and all that stuff, I always search on eBay, and I always type in Mortal Kombat with a K. But then I was like, well, some people will post items with a C. So sometimes you'll find stuff like with a C, and I'm like, eBay then says, well, do you mean it with a K? And I'm like, well, yeah, but unfortunately there's items that are posted who doesn't follow the series, that are just reselling that stuff. And so when they sell it, it's with a C. And I'm like, okay, well, some good items are hidden, in other words, because of that. So that's very interesting.
And that's got a good side to it too.
Yeah.
Obviously, the person that posted this doesn't know shit about what's going on. Because they would have put a K if they did.
True, very true. Or they would have read the box or so, and then, or whatever it is, it did just miss that K. In other words, how the importance of the K is that Ed mentioned in that meeting. In other words.
Let's just say, all you have to do is just look it up once.
Yeah.
Just look it up once.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's. It's the whole, tomato kind of thing or whatnot. So.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I had to go get this. I had to grab this real quick. So anyway, I want to show you. This is what I ended up getting at not this top part, but this was what we got at that meeting. So, and I wrote Mortal Kombat, and I wrote a C first.
Oh, and that's why the K is bold, in other words.
So then I'm going, okay, I wrote it in cursive. I'm going to get home. I'm going to think it's uppercase and lowercase. So I rewrote it to get it all uppercase at the bottom here. And the only reason it's green markers, my pen gave out just as he was saying that. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Looking around there was this ugly ass green marker on the table. Done.
Make what you got.
History's born. Yeah.
Well, so who came up with the name Dragon Attack? Where does?
That was actually the second name, and don't ask me what the first one was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'll have to do some more digging, I guess. But
yeah, I do know it. I'll have to. It is actually an obscure kung fu fighting style that starts with a B.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, got me on that. And it was a very odd word. And I remember thinking, boy, if you really were looking to kill it with a name, that would be the name.
Yeah. I gotcha.
So and I get where they were coming from. That they were just so immersed in kung fu and the actual fighting techniques, and these guys had actually been studying kung. It wasn't like they just had a passing interest in it. They really dedicated their lives to it. He's a kung fu master. He's just an amazing guy. The stuff he does, just hanging out with him is it's a trip. It's fun.
Nice.
But yeah. So Yeah, and then at that point, I mean, they knew they wanted to use the dragon symbol, and actually, the dragon symbol is an old kung fu fighting symbol. And I stayed true to the roots on it. I mean, I really didn't change anything. What you see is pretty much what that ancient symbol is. And and we had all talked about that it was important to reach out to the roots of these martial arts.
Yeah. Try to.
I mean, if you're trying to base it on something that's real, then do something real. Do a little research and find out what's really going on here. That I live for that stuff.
Yeah.
Back in the day, I lived in the library. Now I live on Google.
Well, that's kind of how the transition goes with all that nowadays. Libraries kind of So, I mean, that's kind of IT's best friend too, right? IT. When they tell you to Google it, and then
Yeah, exactly. So
well,
okay, so it was then at that point they were going with the dragon thing and working name. Okay, it was a Dragon Attack was a working name. They weren't really thrilled with it, and I don't know the story behind Mortal Kombat with a K.
Mm-hmm.
There's I've heard 3 different versions. Steve Ritchie wants to claim that he came up with it. I don't know. I'm not going to arm wrestle any of them for it. I don't care.
I mean, you're there to make a trend, start of a trend. In other words, here with this new fighting game. In other words, so
kind of. So that was the thing, and it came in, and I mean, I approached it like any other brand new project. It's kind of reverse engineering when people say to you, were you really excited that it was going to go, huge and become this big game? Nobody knew that.
Yeah.
Nobody gonna do that. I worked on 4 other games that same year. One of them was the direct competition of Mortal Kombat, and I'll get to that in a second.
Mm-hmm.
And the other 2 didn't even see light of day.
Jeez.
So and you pour your heart and soul into all of them, and you think it's all, you hope they're all going to become Mortal Kombat, and there's only one Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
And we're done. 10 years. I mean, and you got to know. I mean, I worked on Tron. I worked on Tapper. I did 3 Pac-Man games. Spy Hunter, Wacko, Satan's Hollow. Yeah. Well, that's, I mean, all these games, they all got legs. They all had. A certain popularity to them. They certainly, I mean, even if I never done them.
Yeah, some of them had, the transition to the trend of either a remake or a movie based off of those, in other words.
Right. And I gotta say, looking back on it, I mean, I really was in the right place at the right time, and I really got assigned to the right games at the right time. There was no rhyme or reason to it. There really wasn't. I mean, Paul Ferris was like the best boss in the world.
Yeah.
You couldn't imagine. I mean, mainly because he started out. He was a teacher that they pulled out of being a high school art teacher to be pinball god, and then run the art department. And then after that was done, he went back to teaching. And actually, he was my nephews and nieces' art teacher in high school. I thought that was just hilarious. Yeah, after he was done with the whole gaming thing, he went back to teaching. That was his happy place. He's just the greatest guy. He really is. I actually run into him every once in a while. I ran into him at a wedding just a couple years ago. Pretty funny.
Same thing. Do you run into Ed or John or anything like that, or do you just?
No.
That's. I wasn't sure if it was like any like.
No.
I know that there was some.
There's no love lost between me and definitely Ed. I mean, and I'll tell you why in a second. And just recently, John and I kind of got into it over something that I wasn't real happy about, and I just decided to kind of keep to myself.
Gotcha.
That's what I'm gonna do. So, yeah.
Be the bigger man, in other words.
I mean, they're great guys. They're talented as hell, and but I'm just gonna say this. When things get popular like this, when they're just huge, Well, everybody starts stumbling all over each other, take credit or be the guy or whatever. And I'm kind of afraid of that too. I kind of spent 27 years in obscurity almost for that reason, just because I was like, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll tell you why I've got a thing with Ed.
Yeah.
When it all went down at the end of the game, when
are we talking MK1 or are we talking
MK1?
Okay.
MK1. Okay. So now all the artwork was done. The game was done. Mm-hmm. Everything was coming together, and we had our final meeting. And basically, what you do is you're just going to go over every piece of production artwork with a fine-tooth comb and double check everything. Yeah. And that's what that meeting is. And that's standard procedure. Every game has them. Every game. It's a pain, but it's a pain that you have to go through because God knows if it goes out and it's wrong, get your ass.
Yeah.
And to fix something at that point, even if you caught it before it went into production, you're still talking about tens, maybe $100,000 just to change, depending on what the screw up was.
Yeah.
If it's a couple of screens or something, okay, still a couple of grand, but you lost time. And that's where the crybaby is going to be about, is losing the time, Okay, yeah. So basically with every game, you got this production meeting. So got done with it at the end. And I even said to at the end of it, I said to Ed Boon, we were talking about the logo, and I said, yeah, I really stayed true to the original Kung Fu symbol and had the dragon facing left.
Oh yeah.
Okay, and then I just while I was working, I randomly threw this out, and I said, yeah, just recently I was watching some show, and I said that the ancient Romans used to believe that our sinister nature was on our left side. So I think that's kind of appropriate that it was facing left, Yeah. There was this real long pause, and he goes, "You really given us a lot of thought, haven't you?" So I'm like, Was that a fuck you?
Oh God!
It kind of felt like a fuck you.
Yeah. Oh goodness.
Okay, I'm not sure what that. Okay, so from that moment on, they flipped it and it was facing right.
Yeah.
But after I said that, okay, so the game comes out, and that's a thing that was much later after when MK2 came out, and it was facing right. It's been facing right ever since.
Yeah.
That's when I was kind of like, what? Fine, be that way, because that was after this happened. What I'm about to tell you. So the game came out, and it was slow at first. I mean, they only made 300 copies. They really didn't think it was going to be anything. They never thought it was. Midway at no point in time ever thought Mortal Kombat was going to be a thing. Until it was a thing. And then they got behind it and decided, hey, this is a thing. We're making a shitload of copies. Yeah. But the original run was 300 games. And that was the absolute bare minimum run for any game. That was an experimental game. Okay. That was the run you did on an experimental game and waited for results to come back in. That's also standard procedure when you're working on a game. You do that game and wait for those 300 to go out and pray to God that you got good results coming back, and it was going to go into a full-blown production.
Yeah.
Okay, I worked on Professor Pac-Man. That was one of those games. Only 300 were made, and it died. It was a big flopola. But now the funny thing is, it's become popular, and I've become, popular because of how big of a flop that game was. Go figure, man. I'm telling you.
I gotcha.
In some ways, it's so funny. It's like it's famous because it was, so bad.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I gotcha.
Okay. So now going back to this. So now the game came out and it was slow going, and all of a sudden it just like exploded, and
it
it's
started,
like
to kick off.
Massive, yeah. And okay, like I just said, I have done, a couple of Pac-Man games, Tapper, Tron. I wasn't, it wasn't, totally foreign to me to have a success on a game.
Yeah.
Not like that.
Yeah.
That was insane. And just standing by the sidelines watching it happen and explode, I was just like, oh my God. This is way bigger than anything I've ever worked on. This is nuts.
Yeah.
So when it hit, I called up Midway, fishing for more work. Oh, that's the thing, because I was freelancer. Oh, okay. They hired me on as a freelancer to do the artwork on Mortal Kombat because they didn't think it was going to be a big deal.
Gotcha.
If they thought it was going to be a big deal, they used somebody in-house who they could control and own the artwork outright. And I think that was the problem with the logo.
Gotcha.
Was I was a freelancer, so I still had some inherent rights to the artwork. Not that I could cash in on it or anything, but I had my rights were pretty much just like I could show it, and I could use it to promote myself, that stuff,
Yeah.
So, and that scared them because now all of a sudden it's a valuable commodity.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, when the fame and the money get huge, the thinking gets real small.
Yeah.
Real small.
It's like narrow-minded or
completely
one-tracked or so.
And not so much even narrow-minded, but more we got to lock this down. We got to keep these people under control. Got to get them under our thumb. We don't want any loose cannons running around out there. We want total and complete control over this. So what will we have to do to make that happen? Well, how about if we threaten Paul? That sounds like a great, that's step one, threaten the shit out of Paul. So that's what happened. So I called up, so now it goes huge, it's big. And I'm thinking, I'm in, brother.
Yeah.
I did all this artwork. I did the entire thing. Who is the natural guy to step in and work on MK2? Right?
Yeah.
One called up, and they sent me to Ed. And Ed goes, and I'm talking it up and stroking him a little bit, great job, amazing. This thing's gone, beyond anybody's wild imagination. I was so proud to be part of the team, and he cuts me off. And he goes, "You weren't part of the team." I'm like, "What? Wait, what? How was I not part of the team?" He goes, "Well, how did you think you were part of the team? You're a freelancer. You're a hired gun. We hired John. We paid you. You did a great job. Don't get me wrong. It was an amazing job. But you were not part of our team. Where did you get that idea?" And I said, "Probably all the meetings with the rest of the team, Ed."
Yeah, I'll be in there.
I'm a little bent out of shape at that point. And a lot of that has to do with a prejudice against, I say against freelancers, but around freelancers.
Yeah.
At the ad agencies, anyone that uses us, we're hired gun. And that's kind of the attitude, too.
Wow.
Like, we don't have a vested interest in the outcome or anything. We do. It's my name on the damn thing.
Yeah.
I have more vested interest in that working out than if I worked there.
Yeah.
If I worked there, maybe I just lose my job and just move on. And if I'm a freelancer, I put my name on. That's my career. I just put on it. We have a saying that you're only as good as your last job. And I'm sure every other business has that same saying.
Yeah.
It's true. It's true.
It is.
You're going to be judged by the last thing you did, especially in video game industry. Video game, that's a huge thing. There's a lot of moving parts, a lot of components that went into it. So you're going to be judged on whatever happened there.
Yeah.
Okay, so now, so I said, we're having this thing about being part of the team, and so my feelings are, but I'm thinking in the back of my head, don't burn any bridges. You know, freelancers credo, don't burn bridges.
Yeah.
So I'm still playing nice, and he goes, I'm glad I got you on the phone. Actually, the legal department wants me to remind you that there's a clause in your NDA that says you can't show Mortal Kombat artwork or associate yourself with Mortal Kombat or anything, make any kind of association with Mortal Kombat for a period of not less than 18 months, starting, how about now?
Oh, jeez.
What? Wait, what? I mean, I was just like, I remember being on the phone that day going, did I hear that right?
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, okay, now I've signed, at that point, you know, my career that was paying for the bills was working on Michigan Avenue ad agencies, doing illustration there. And that was where the big bucks were. You know, actually, I kind of had two parallel careers going. One doing video game stuff, and the other one doing ad agency illustrations on Michigan Avenue, and that was paying the bills, you know, in a big way, you know. So for me, this, even though there was, you know, serious money involved, this was more fun.
Yeah.
You know,
like hobby or
well,
I wouldn't say hobby or
more than that. I mean, it was a business, obviously, and then I'm doing it for professionally, and I'm making decent money, not, you know, not the super bucks that I was making in advertising. Yeah, and I think that's what it was a comparison thing for me anyway. Me personally, at the time, you know, when I'm making, you know, a ton of money over here, and then this one that it was fun for a moment, right up until you said that.
Yeah, it's kind of take the air out the room kind of deal.
Right. So you see where I'm coming from. It's like okay, it's professional and there's a lot of money involved, but my personal involvement had there was a lot of fun factor.
Yeah.
We're making games. We're making these amazing games. It's fun. It was always fun. Why do you think I got into it? Wow. You know, I had a job at Bally Midway. I left that freaking sign company so fast, the doors were probably flapping, you know. Really, I couldn't believe my luck. I got that gig, you know. I was like 24 years old. I'm working in the, you know, Bally Midway. Oh my God. You know, I skipped classes in college to go play pinball, and now the guys that did the artwork on the pinball games that I used to play are in the next cubicle, you know.
Yeah, that's kind of a.
I was fanboying, just
dream, you know.
Yeah.
Jeez.
You know, so yeah. So now fast forward to, you know, 92. Here I'm thinking, holy crap, you know, I 10 years in the business, and now I've got the biggest game I've ever done, and I've done some big ones, but this one's cranking it, you know. Yeah, and he hits me with that I can't associate myself with it or show any of the artwork for 18 months.
Yeah.
So again, biting my tongue, and I'm like, okay. And I remember hanging up and thinking, we'll see how this pans out, you know. I'll do my 18 months. That's fine. Whatever, you know. And the other thing was, when I suggested working on MK2, he said, what was it? That license will never cross over the threshold of the front door again. Meaning, it's never leaving the building. You know, we're never hiring a freelancer ever again to do that. That was a stupid mistake that we made. We're never doing that again. And that's kind of his way of saying that.
Yeah.
So, okay. So that conversation happened, and I was like, fine, you know. So now after that happened is when all of a sudden Mortal Kombat's the center of a congressional hearing.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Right. You know, and now I'm being contacted by their lawyers saying, "Oh, you may have to go to Washington to testify." Now you want me to go talk about Mortal Kombat, right? Well, you know, the irony does not escape me.
No. So now it's.
I even said that to a lawyer, and he just like glazed over it, like I didn't say anything. It's moving on. Yeah, okay.
Oh jeez.
That didn't happen. I didn't have to go, but you know.
Oh, that's good.
But here's so now at that point, you know, It's kind of a firestorm of
So
problems.
yeah,
You know, and it was
controversy and all, and
yeah, right, right, exactly. So here's the thing: my clients were uh, M&M Mars and Kellogg's and a bunch of liquor companies who, boy, it's by the book with the liquor companies. They don't want any controversy or problems or anything. So all this stink with Mortal Kombat in Washington was not going to play well with those clients. So I thought maybe this was a little blessing in disguise,
yeah,
that I wasn't able to talk about all of it. Maybe I don't need to talk about it. Maybe it wasn't such a bad thing to not be associated with it, considering who my clients were.
yeah,
So I kind of walked away from it. And then a lot of time passed by, and before I knew it, it was 27 years went by.
yeah,
One day I'm digging around and in some old files, and I find all the artwork from Mortal Kombat from the original game.
yeah.
And it turns out I'm the only one on the planet that has it. They threw out everything.
I heard that. I heard when they closed down that Midway building that we and a couple of friends went and toured. We actually went to the Midway building. Myself, my friends Justin, Tabak 99, Luke, who came all the way from Australia. We did a little MK tour back in, was it 2017? I want to say.
Oh man!
So we
Wow.
did a little tour. So we went to the places in Chicago, and one of the places was the old Chicago or the old Midway building, which we even went to the KFC where the idea supposedly of one of the characters came from. We visited the place where in the game where it says Mo thing for the MK1 and MK2 comic. We visited that address to see what it looked like, and now it's a duplex business place or whatever. So it was really interesting that we did that. So, but I think a couple of my friends had shared the fact that when they were closing down the Midway building, how some of that stuff got thrown in like trash bins or whatever, of like the Midway logos and all everything. Like it was just really sad.
Everything. Well, okay. When I was working there, I started there in '82, and then they built a brand new building, huge building at the end of '82, and we moved into it, and then they consolidated all the art departments. So that's when all of us were working together in one big, huge art department, which was amazing. That was, boy, you got just a whole big department full of world-class illustrators.
Yeah.
That was the most amazing situation for an artist to be
Yeah.
bouncing off ideas off of, all of like world-class contemporaries, all right, like in the same
Building.
room with you.
Yeah.
Best damn job ever. It really was,
That's awesome.
And I was so young, I didn't know any better. I thought that was a regular thing. I looked for that unicorn of a job for years after it was gone. Only literally, it took me about 3 or 4 years before it was like, it doesn't exist anywhere, dumbass. It was a one-time deal.
Yeah.
But it was just so much fun. I learned so much. I probably learned more in those 2 years than I ever did in 4 years of college.
Nice.
Easily.
Good
It really. Oh, what I learned in techniques and design and form and layout and color usage and lighting and shadowing and you name it, everything that has to do with art.
Yeah.
I pretty much learned in those 2 years being around those amazing people. Yeah, I owe them. I think so.
That's awesome. Well, did you you said you mentioned MK2, but did you have any involvement after with the art of MK2, or did you have any like character hand in those at all, or?
No, and unfortunately, kind of because of that whole thing that went down at the end of that, it really kind of almost ended my video game career. That was pretty much, it came to a screeching halt right then and there. I actually did one other job after that.
Mm-hmm.
It was on it was on a pinball game, actually. Doug Watson was helping out on Demolition Man.
Okay.
And with
Sly and
Sylvester Stallone
Wesley
and Wesley Snipes and what's her name? Can't think of her name. It was her first. Oh, I can picture her.
It's not oh my God, I can't think of her.
Yeah, I'll think of it in a second. It was her first movie. It was her very first. Yeah.
Okay.
So I did the comp artwork for the header.
Okay.
Yeah, and actually, I forget what her name is too. There was a fantastic artist over at Midway. This is what Williams Midway. She was a Williams person they brought in. What was her name? Super talented. I can't remember her name though. Anyway, she was supposed to have done the illustration for Demolition Man, but she got bogged down with another project she was working on and couldn't do it. So they brought me in to do the artwork on Demolition Man.
Okay.
And then Wesley Snipes screwed me.
Okay.
The layout that we had decided on had Stallone in the center, and then Snipes and Sandra Bullock. Thank you.
That's what I thought it was. I wasn't 100% sure because it's been a while since I've seen that movie.
I knew if I didn't think about it and just said it, it would come right after. Yeah. So anyway, they had those two portraits on either side of Stallone, and Stallone's head was just slightly larger than theirs, and then there was like an explosion and a police car and some other crap in the background. The typical pinball layout, cartoon, comic book, explosion. Typical action-packed, layout. Yeah. Well, Snipes is all bent out of shape because Stallone's head was like 3% larger than his. I am not joking.
Oh my God.
That's the kind of shit that stops everything. Stops everything. So production stopped, and while they bantered back and go look at the final artwork on Demolition Man. His head is the same size as Stallone's. It had to be.
Wow, I didn't know that. I didn't know that celebrities can have that kind of an impact on a.
Oh hell yes! and I'm telling you, whenever you see a layout of a movie and you got three, principles in that layout.
Yeah.
I learned the hard way. That's going to be a problem. One of them's going to be a dick. I don't know which one. One of them, though.
Yeah. Goodness. That's interesting. That is. That's
So
something I didn't know about. Well, what's funny about that you bring up Demolition Man is that with this whole quarantine stuff or whatnot, how we are social distancing or whatever, and the premise of Demolition Man, well, we're social distancing,
right.
And I don't know, you order takeout or whatever, or Taco Bell is the thing now, which I don't.
That's right.
Taco Bell really is the thing now,
right?
So somebody pointed that out. I was like, oh, so it was interesting that you bring up Demolition Man. And I was like,
I didn't even think of it in that context, but that's pretty poignant. But
yeah, that's
wow. That is pretty funny.
And then like how nowadays like people make those references like Back to the Future and other movies that this is the Blade Runner time. This is 2021 when we're supposed to have flying cars or whatever. So it's like
right. I want my flying car, damn it.
Yeah.
Where's my hover car?
Yeah, where's my hover car at? Or where's my lace-up Nikes or whatever from Back to the Future?
Right. I want my 3D projection TV, damn it. Where the hell is it?
That's well.
Pass me some more Soma, damn it. Hell out of it.
Well, I'm trying to think what else we can talk about here about.
Well, you know what? I really went a long way. I've got to tell you. So my ultra secret that I started out talking about.
Oh, yeah.
What the ultra secret actually was. Okay, so now you know the whole Mortal Kombat story and everything that happened in a timeline. All right. Now let's add on another timeline onto that timeline, and that's working on the game Time Killers simultaneously.
Time Killers. Oh, that's that fighting game that was supposed to be a rip off, or it was a rip off in a way. It was the idea and everything.
You nailed it on that.
Oh.
Yeah. It was Incredible Technologies, and Incredible Technologies was actually a bunch. It was a handful of the programmers from Midway who'd gotten together when we all got laid off. That's why I was gone in '84. We all got laid off. In fact, they cleaned house. The entire department was let go. And then later on, they restructured and brought in like a couple of people.
Yeah.
You know, but at that point, I was off and running on my own. You know, had other things going, so I didn't have any interest in pursuing it. I remember, I think Doug Watson and Tony Ramone had both called me up and said, "Hey, we're putting the band back together." You know.
That's a good way to say it.
And I was like, I don't play that music anymore. I'm playing with this other band now. You know? That was really kind of how it went down there. Like, okay, man, you ever want to come and jam with us? Let us know. And that was about it. That's kind of what it turned into. My freelancing was jamming with them once in a while. You know?
So
now I'm working on 2 days after that meeting, the Dragon Attack. 2 days, I get a phone call from Incredible Technologies, and they're all like super hush secret. They've got a hardline secret, but we don't even say it on the phone. Come in for a meeting. I'm like, damn, okay. Get there. You love this. They lay out this whole thing about they got some inside contacts over at Midway Williams, and we heard about this game, Dragon Attack. I'm like, do tell.
That's very interesting.
It's all over my studio, right? Okay. I'm already working on it. And I'm like,
I wonder who that leak is.
Yeah, well, that was kind of the other thing too. Was, you know, I never did find out who it was or how they found that out.
Yeah.
You know, so which was kind of a scary thing because and here's why, because I took on the job. Now the job I was doing for Time Killers was I hand painted the backgrounds that the fighting characters fought in, and actually and it was funny because I'm working on Mortal Kombat and Time Killers simultaneously. I got both jobs. I literally had two drawing boards. One was for one game and one was for the other.
Yeah.
You know, and so now as I'm working on both games, I am seriously breaking the NDAs on both of them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. But you know, I'm a freelancer and I'm not turning down a job.
Yeah.
And at the time, I really didn't. I got to be honest. I didn't go into it thinking, I'm pulling off something sneaky here. I thought I was doing. What I was thinking was, look, I'm not revealing anything to Midway about Time Killers, and I'm not revealing anything to Incredible Technologies about Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
So how's it hurting anybody?
Yeah.
You know, I was keeping. You know. You can't be a freelancer for 35 years and not be able to keep corporate secrets and you know, keep your stuff to yourself. So, you know, I was following procedure on that. I went to lunch with my lawyer one day, and I'm telling him this, and I'm laughing about him. Hey, I'm working on two jobs, or the one is literally designed to be the competition of the other one. I got them both. He goes, "Don't ever speak that out loud again." And he's going, "I hope the waitress didn't hear us." Right? I'm like, "Really?" He goes, "Oh, yeah. He goes, you know, he goes, "I'm sure there was a non-compete clause in there somewhere." I was like, "Oh, I didn't think of that." You know? So he at lunch that day, he scared the crap out of me. And I went, now at the time, Oh, that was the other thing too. Is now both companies had learned of the others, building games and stuff. So now Midway is bumping up production. So the deadlines are getting tighter and tight. We need to get this done a little fast. So no more than that happens. Like literally one day, I got a phone call, and 30 minutes later, I got a call from Incredible Technologies saying, "Well, we heard that they bumped up the production over at Midway. We really got to crank on this stuff. Is there any way you can get those backgrounds done faster?" Oh my God, So I hired my buddy Rich Lowe, another illustrator, to come in, and he did, I think, 4 of the backgrounds for Time Killers, and I did like Blade Runner World. I did Hell. I did the Viking ship. I think I did the Japanese dojo. And Prehistoric Times, the dinosaur.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think to the date, I've only just watched the videos of what Time Killer was, because I don't know what it was. It was there. I didn't have any interest. I was more in the Mortal Kombat side of things. So,
there's a good reason for that. And actually, I just watched a video on somebody was critiquing the 2 games, and he brought up a good point. And I'm glad my artwork wasn't part of it.
Oh God.
But the point was that you didn't care about the characters.
Yeah.
You didn't remember their names. They had a backstory, but you didn't care what it was. It didn't stick with you. Mortal Kombat, there's a great backstory, and they're involved, and you remember the characters' names, and the characters are interesting, and they're
story.
They all have different powers that and they're fighting for saving the world. What a great concept! These other guys are just battling out because they showed up.
Yeah.
So it was really that backstory became important to the success of the game.
Yeah.
Because it had staying power. It had memorability to it. It built a fan base to it. That you talk to people, Mortal Kombat fans, you go, "What's your favorite fighter?" Scorpion Man. Raiden. Without hesitation, they gotta. Time Killers. Name one character. Name any characters.
Well, you bring up a point, because I was watching what is it? The Angry oh my God, the Angry video name.
That's the guy that. Yes, yeah. that was. Yeah.
So his video was like the knockoffs of Mortal Kombat, in other words, and he talked about how you couldn't remember the names of these characters from Time Killers or whatever because of they didn't really stuck with you, and didn't have a story or nothing. They were just put out there, and then he was kind of praising the whole idea about their having all these 220 some fatalities or something like what they were bragging about. So
yes, yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't think I could probably process all that back then when I was what was it, 9 when I was 9 years old or 10 years old when I got introduced to Mortal Kombat. There was also Street Fighter. Street Fighter had a really good background or whatever, but these other ones other fighting games that came out, it was like, oh, okay, because there was other Midway games that came out. There was like War Gods, and there was
right. Well, there's always going to be spin-off, or emulations, and even within the ranks of Midway, they're okay. When I first started there in '82, all they could talk about was the next Pac-Man. I'm telling you, every effing meeting ended with somebody going, "This could be the next Pac-Man." Shut up! Stop saying that. Oh my God! I just wanted to shoot him. Shut up! Stop saying that shit. What happened before Pat? What did you say before that? Was this could be the next Space Invaders? Well, shut up! Yeah.
I wonder nowadays if that's what's going on still. I wonder if they're still saying that. I mean, you know.
Absolutely. To me, that's like reverse. That's reverse engineering.
Yeah.
You know, you know. Okay, I owned a haunted house for 10 years,
Yeah,
and
I saw those pictures.
my partner was my brother-in-law, who was a carpenter.
Yeah.
You know, great carpenter, amazing carpenter. But the trouble is, he couldn't stay in his lane. You know,
Yeah.
and he wanted to throw in, and he wanted to do this, and he wanted, and it ended up conflict, and that's what happens. That's what always happens.
Yeah.
Too many, people don't want to stay in their lane. They're like, just do your job. I don't want to do your job. Why do you want to do mine?
Yeah.
I never got that. So yeah. Um, where we're going with that? I forget.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of the other lane that we went into.
You're right. I got out of my lane, damn it.
Dang it.
I went off the road. Now I don't know where the hell I'm going.
I mean,
yes. Where are we?
I know we were talking about how the spin-offs and knockoffs or whatnot about the time killer situation.
Yeah. Oh, I remember where I was going with that. With him, staying in his lane. He was more interested in always looking at the competition and emulating them. That's where I was going to go. That was my point. Was that he was always interested in emulating the competition. And I said, I don't care what they're doing. In fact, if I want to go see what they're doing, it's so I don't do that.
Yeah.
It's the last thing I want to do. I don't want to. I don't want to steal their typeface. That's what he did. He actually went and stole their typeface, and I'm like, are you insane? Yeah, but the same thing happens in the gaming industry too. Where we had this fantastic successful game. It's like suddenly you're incapable of coming up with anything new or innovative or clever. Well,
yeah.
The last thing that you're talking about was new and innovative and clever at one point in time.
Yeah.
Mortal Kombat, when it first came out, I mean, the whole thing really was very, very cutting edge. Even the way I went about doing the artwork on the cabinet was completely different than I'd ever done before. We never tried to airbrush onto frosted vellum and then have it photographed into a halftone on that size. Like working the size of the side of a cabinet.
Okay, yeah.
We'd never tried that before, and it worked great.
Yeah, it's pretty iconic. I mean, that work, that image. I mean, now granted, I don't know, and I don't have one. I should have grabbed one. There was a Culture Fight box that came out during the holiday season, and there's a pin that you get, and it was the side art of that Mortal Kombat 1 machine.
Oh, cool.
Well, most notably, that's missing. You just see the dragon. You don't see Daniel Pesina there.
Yeah.
So I don't know what happened with that. I don't know if that was a WB stepped in and said no, or what it was.
Wow, that's an interesting concept because now Dan Pesina's been through two lawsuits with.
I hear. In other words.
Okay. And by the way, thank you, Dan Pesina, for taking a bullet for the rest of us.
Yeah, he's an incredible person, by the way. So,
oh my God, is he ever? I love the man to death. He's just an amazing.
He treats everyone like a brother, in other words, or a friend. Even regardless of what.
Yeah.
Because I remember meeting him back in 2016 at Combat Con. When Doc Mack put that together, when it used to be called Shang Tsung Fight Night, and then it got turned into Combat Con, and then of course the next year, or the troubles that they had, in other words, and then it just now reverted back, in other words, to Shang Tsung Fight Night. But that when 2016, when I first met Daniel Pesina, I actually met him as he was coming into the auditorium or the gym, in other words, and I was like first in line because I had to be there because, hey, it's Combat Con. So it was very interesting, but I was like, dude, Daniel Pesina. And then he's like, you want a quick selfie real quick? I was like, sure, you're holding your coffee or whatever. I don't want you, he's in his coat and everything. And I'm just
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
damn.
Doesn't
And then
matter
they're
to
talking
him.
about grabbing a beer and everything, which is pretty
Yeah.
awesome. I mean, like, dude is, yeah. So as you were giving
How
praise
about it?
to Mr. Pacino, Master Pacino, I should say.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, right. Well, okay. We we did a Phoenix show.
okay,
Uh,
yeah.
yeah, and John. I can't think of his last name. Crap. I'll think of it. Anyway, um, I
Someone named
hate
John.
when that happens. I'd love to give him a plug. I hate when that happens.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Dan actually got me that gig. He got me booked for that show, and that's where I met Tim Kitzrow, voice of NBA Jam and a bunch of other games too.
Yeah,
And actually,
yeah.
he's on Mortal Kombat too. So it's funny now. I had done maybe I think maybe did two. Yeah, at that point I had only done maybe two shows with Dan.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them was a blizzard. There was a blizzard that night and nobody
Yeah.
showed up. So actually, which is good because actually we got to sit and talk and we went to dinner and had a great conversation and kind of got to know each other. Okay, so fast forward, we're in uh, uh, Phoenix,
Mm-hmm.
and Tim Kitzrow's there, and Dan and I are goofing, and Dan walks off, and Tim goes, "Man, it's so cool to see somebody who's been friends with Dan for years and years. Like you can really see it in the friendship you guys have." And I go, "You just met
Yeah.
him a couple months ago. This is the second time I've ever been around him.
Yeah.
That's who he is. He
Yeah.
treats
No.
everybody like a long lost friend. Like I said, Tim was totally convinced that we had known each other for years and we're the best of friends, and this is who he
Yeah.
is. We connected, so that's who. If you're in, you're in. You
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. No. Every now and then I'll get something from him, or he'll say something on Facebook
Yeah,
or birthday or whatever. It's just like
yeah, yeah.
really nice, and it's not just him. There's the other actors too, like
Oh,
Richard and
Richard's
John.
fantastic. Philip, oh my God, I
Oh
love
yes.
those guys. Love them to death.
Oh, they're
Love them
awesome.
to death. Yeah,
Yeah. So
all of them.
I hope.
John, yeah,
I mean, my hope and goal was to try to get them here in Kansas City so they can come to our convention, our big convention. So we'll see. I mean, I'm still trying to move on that, and
yeah. I
maybe
mean,
get you out here too as well. I
I'd
mean,
love to. I'd love to.
no,
Yeah. Well, hopefully all this will level off and life will go back to something
hope so.
resembling normal. Yeah. I mean, I've had okay. Since Dan kind of got me rolling on getting booked for shows and everything.
Yeah.
That was last year. It was my first shows ever. I'm kind of a novice at it. So, but the nice thing about doing the shows is when you're at the shows, other shows come up to you and want to book you. So I had a whole laundry list of shows that I booked for this year. I was already booked for about, well, solid 8 shows and 2 more
Wow.
that were still pending.
Yeah.
Since then, 4 of them have been canceled.
Yeah.
You know,
That's
and
it.
and and if all of them, I will not be surprised if all of them don't end up going to the wayside before it's all over.
Now
It's
it's a little harder to reschedule it when later in the year. I mean,
yeah,
the holiday
yeah.
coming in and all that stuff. It's going to be harder travel and
See
all.
that?
So
Right. That's the other thing too. It's almost like it's going to be a do-over year.
yeah.
I hope things survive. That's my concern.
Yeah.
Will things survive to last until next year and be here for that? That's
Some businesses, yeah, that takes the impact of this. In other words, that depends on what's going on. I mean, so I don't know. I don't know.
yeah. So I know I'm just kind of hunkering down and
Well, that's good. That's
seeing
no,
what
that's
happens. Yeah.
so.
But
What I was going to ask next was you had shown off earlier that artwork, that Dragon Attack, and I was going to bring it up in this so that way you can tell people about your Etsy site, where if
oh, cool.
any
Yeah.
collector wants to get this, where do they go? I know I'm trying to get there to buy them all. In other words, for my collection.
Cool, yeah.
But if someone wants to buy something, where would they go?
Oh, okay. I am. My Etsy site is Mortal Kombat Artist or Mortal Kombat 1 Artist.
Oh, okay.
There, okay.
I'll put that in the description of
that'd be great.
video. So
actually, after I get done here, I'm going to go on there and revamp the store. I've got a whole bunch of new items to put on there. A couple of posters that I was doing some illustrations for Jeffrey Woodenhagen. His new book's coming out.
Okay.
Maybe at the end of this year, but I kind of got to jump on doing the artwork. So I talked to him actually just yesterday. And he goes, yeah. Put it out. I was thinking, hey, maybe put this out and offer up his prints, and he was totally okay with that. So I'm thrilled, man. So yeah, all that's happening right now. I would love, boy, if you could put a tag on there for me, that'd be fantastic.
I will definitely. I mean,
thanks, man. Appreciate it.
So I mean, that's the kind of relationship I have with my good friends. I mean, we became friends over a year now, almost. Close to a year.
Yeah.
And then I look forward to more conversations like this and whatnot, and maybe who knows, maybe I can get some other folks like Dan, or I don't know how I'm going to work, but we'll make it work somehow. Maybe bring my buddy on, Justin, who's a big historian in Mortal Kombat, in other words. So you've probably seen some of his videos on YouTube, Tedbach99.
Oh yeah. Okay, sure.
So he does a lot of good history. He's like a good historian of other MK fans review. I've known him for years now, and so maybe something. So I don't know. We'll see people comments and what they think about this interview, and hopefully give good comments.
Right. Well, if you're interested in talking to other. I mean, I know Jack Hager pretty well. You get Jack Hager to do an interview with you. He's was behind T2 and Carn Evil.
Okay. Every now and then. So you did play some art. You did do some art for Carn Evil and all that, or was that just commission work?
That was kind of funny how that all came about. That is Jeremy Fox, who owns Prince Arcades in Bolingbrook, Illinois.
Another good friend. Yeah. So shout
great guy.
Oh yes.
Another great guy. Well, that's the thing, and well, I'm telling you, I love being back in the video game industry, and I say it because for a while there, I owned or I was part owner of a board game company called Eagle Game. Okay. And actually, we sold it off to Griffin Games, and now it's Eagle Griffin Games.
Okay.
But I don't know. I like working with video game people better. I don't want to come off. This is going to come off sounding wrong, but not all. But a lot of board game players have an attitude. They think they're smarter than the video game guys, because there's like strategy and you're playing against humans. And there's a little bit of an attitude that wore thin on me after a while. They really did. To me, I just saw it as an arrogance. It's just a game, dude. Just here to entertain.
I think that's also with PC games too. Besides PC games and video, like console gamers, like there was that transition of that conflict, and not really conflict. I can't really say the right word, but PC gamers are better because they something about PC gamers were better than console gamers. Console gamers is that's like, well, I never saw it. I started on PC games and then eventually just transitioned to console games. So I mean, I can't really say bad about one or the other because that's where I came from. PC games. Playing the old Doom and Duke Nukem and all that stuff, those shooter games or whatnot. And then I used to have an old PC Mac that was a big tube TV or whatever, and it came with I forgot what the game was, but it was like this karate game that essentially you press the keyboard combinations or whatever, which I sucked at, in other words. But it's kind of like I won't say that it's like that same game that I think it was called Kumite. The Bloodsport with Jean-Claude Van Damme, whether the game that they were at the arcade playing, in other words, and you see them like justing around with the joysticks or whatever. It was kind of like that, and I just kept getting my butt kicked at it, and yeah, nowadays it's a computer game or online game that gets kicked at.
Oh, right, right, yeah. So no, but I'm like I said, like guys like I think Jeremy and Doc Mack and
oh yeah, some awesome guys,
amazing, and Dan Pacina. There's a different feel from electronic gamers. There really is. I enjoy being.
It's like a family, in other words. Like it's not really a family per se, but it's not. It's still friends, but it feels family.
I think they're more of a camaraderie,
or respect,
than as opposed to like board gamers look at everybody like competition.
Yeah,
everybody's the enemy.
Jeez, yeah.
With video gamers, they're more like they have more of a camaraderie. They want to work together to beat the game.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that is an inherent difference.
Yeah.
It can't be ignored. It really can't.
So I'm curious.
I love my board game guys. Don't get me wrong, but when you own the company and you have to deal with it every day, and you have and you're the one reading the emails and everybody bitching about we used to call them the button counters. Because we were doing historical games, the owner of the company loved Napoleonic period, and I do too. I love Napoleonic period, and the uniforms are just insane. So you get these guys, I believe that was a 7-button frock. I only see 6 buttons on it. Are you kidding me? He's got a bedroll in front of him. How the hell do you even know what the? I mean, that was literally that actually happened. That question came up, and then they were like, "Oh, yes, you're correct. Of course, he has a bedroll." I'm like, I can't. That was 10 minutes. I can never get back. And every complaint they were all like that. It was all stupid, ignorant.
Just I got you.
Minuscule, picayune crap. and you know what it is? It's their way of saying I know something.
Yeah.
Well, good for you.
Yeah. If it makes yourself feel better, the extra cookie or something, or I got you.
Exactly. Get like boy, I'm really dating myself here, but Don Rickles used to. Probably maybe don't even know who Don Rickles is. Look him up. He was a pretty funny guy. But his line was, "Oh, that's sweet. Give him a cookie."
Well, that's where I think the saying goes. Do you want a cookie?
Yeah. Maybe.
Yeah, it sounds like where it comes from. I mean, my wife tells me that every now and then when I say something smart or do something smart, she'll, "Do you want a cookie or something?"
You want a cookie, man?
Yeah.
Kinda.
Yeah.
You're married long enough. You'll take that damn cookie. Okay.
Yeah. I'm like, sure, I'll take that cookie. Thanks.
You're offering something. I'm taking it.
Oh goodness. Well, what? So do you still keep up with like the Mortal Kombat and where it's going nowadays, or do you just kind of just go by liaison, like kind of what you see on the Facebook or whatever? Like, where it's been, where it's going now?
Yeah. I mean, yes and no. Yes, in that now that I'm like kind of back in the fold again. I was absent for 17 or 27, not 17, 27 years.
Yeah.
And then kind of rediscovered about a year ago by Doc Mack, who thank you, Doc Mac, by the way. This guy petitioned me probably a good 6 months to come down and see the arcade, meet your fans. I didn't think I had fans. Really, he literally called me up and begged me to come down there. And I was like, "Oh, Doc, I don't think anybody remembers any of those games." He goes, "I got a whole arcade full of these games.
Yeah.
Somebody remembered them because they're playing them all the time, and you need to come down here and say hi to your fans. You have fans."
Yeah.
So I came down there, and he was great. It was just amazing. I'll never forget that. It was a Sunday afternoon, and I showed up out of the blue, just out of a whim, and announced, "Hey, I'm over here." And he goes, "Oh, today's Doc's day off."
Yeah.
I said, "Oh crap! You got to know the one day I came down here after 6 months of him harping at me to come, come down the day he's not here." So
I think I went actually. The last time I went there, he wasn't there, but a couple of folks that were there that I knew, obviously from the Combat Con, that was there and everything, like they put it on, and it's like even like his folks are, you get close to them as well. You know them, and it's like Brandon and a couple of other guys.
Oh right, yeah.
It's like, oh my God, it's like how that community is, and that's really awesome. And trust me, I have I would like to go back someday soon. I was actually planning either this year or next year a man trip. In other words, to a couple of my guys, we were going to go to Chicago. Maybe is what I was thinking, and we go hit up Galloping Ghost or something.
Yeah. So so that day, I just went over and I'm playing some games, and all of a sudden this guy comes up, introduces himself as Doc Mac.
Oh yeah.
And I said, "Oh wow, they told me you weren't here." He said, "Well, yeah, they also called me at home and told me that you came down." He goes, "I've been bugging you for 6 months to show up." He goes, "I want to come over and meet you." And I was like, "Wow, that was really awesome."
Yeah.
So that's how we met, and so I love that story because I was just like, wow, man, he went out of his way, his day off, to come down and meet me, and
Yeah.
So that really set things off since then. So actually, he's hired me to work on a new game. Not a new game, actually a very old game, about a 36-year-old game.
Oh.
I know.
So just what's the word?
Reboot it or engineer it, or
like the art on the arcade. Is that what you're being asked to do, or is that?
Well, here's what happened. I was doing a podcast. And I was dragging out some of the artwork that I had done, and I said, while I was at Bally, I was really very fast with markers and doing comp work. And because I was so good at it, that's what I ended up doing a lot. I ended up doing the artwork on dozens and dozens of prototype games, where they'd come to you and go, "Hey, we've got a prototype game. It's sitting out on the dock. They didn't want to bring it in. They just brought it off the truck and it's sitting on the dock. Could you go out there, pull the header off of it, make some artwork, slap it on, put it back in there? They're picking it up in about 2 hours." I mean, literally, that's what we did a lot. So I remember going back and busting my butt, throwing together a header for a game called Zodiac, and I had some robots I had sketched for another game that we didn't use, and fine, I already got them designed. Yeah. They ended up, that's the kind of shit we do. What haven't we used? We'll throw it in there, and just to get it out on the dock and out the door. So when I was working there, I thought to myself, "Oh crap, I'm going to get stuck doing these for the rest of the time. I am never going to get to do, final production on a game ever again, because I shot myself in the foot by being really good at doing all these comps."
Yeah. Yeah.
But that didn't happen. I mean, I let history show, and I got some pretty cool games to work on, along the way. But most of my time was spent doing these comps. So now I did this comp for a game called Fighting Rollers. and that was one of the games that was in question when the. Remember when I said the customs agent showed up?
Uh-huh.
One of the games that was actually in question. Because, and one of the things that seemed to be kind of a tip off was the games would have a limited number of racks to play, which meant that so much memory was being used up by something else.
Yeah, in the background
or military secrets,
yeah,
or whatever else it was they had dumped onto the hard drive. That they try to hide or whatever. So that was one of those games that only had like 10 racks. So it became suspicious right away, just that it only had 10 racks to play. But it turns out that's all that they had done. There really wasn't anything other than that going on.
Yeah.
So the game didn't get made, but I did a header for it, but just a cop, and the game got shelved, but still existed. It was sold. The license to it was sold 4 different times. The last time was to Doc Mack, who now owns the game, and the game's never been produced. So he had the idea to produce the game. So now while we're doing this podcast, I happened to pull out one of the dozens of comps that I had. I had actually saved was Fighting Rollers, and I pulled this out, and he goes, "Oh my God, I own the rights to this."
Huh.
Yeah, like what were the chances?
Yeah.
So I pull out the header art from 36 years ago for a game that he bought that he's thinking about redoing.
Yeah.
I was like, what? Get out of here. So
that's awesome.
So that is the game that I'm actually doing right now. Is I'm taking my 80s artwork and giving it kind of a 2020 spin. Yeah.
Gotcha. That's pretty cool.
It's kind of nutty, huh?
I'll have to share. Obviously, you probably will share it. I mean, you probably.
Oh, sure.
Obviously, whenever you're on Facebook and everything, and people can find you on Facebook if add you on Facebook or follow you on Facebook or whatnot. But are you on? You're not on Twitter or Instagram or anything like that.
I am, but I'm not very active. I mean, I have accounts there. I'm actually making a conscious effort to be a little bit more, aware of and using those a little bit more.
Okay.
It's
a lot of manpower to handle all those. So I know I take from experience, in other words. So when I post something, do I need to share it here or there, or where's my followers at, or whatever? So
I'm still trying to figure out how to be famous. I'm not sure how that works.
Well, I'm hoping, I'm getting my collector series in gear, and hopefully we'll put some background behind me, because usually MK fans that are on MKO, that's where most of my community comes from. They all know me as Fraysol. So that's where the idea of the Combat Collector Fraysol comes from, is seeing that guy be Fraysol. So, it's one of those that, where do you go, and what's your outlet, in other words? And right now it's just Facebook right now.
Right.
But some people can find, so completely understand. It's been a real pleasure to have this discussion. Obviously, it went longer than what we had planned.
It always does. It always does, doesn't it?
And I'm glad we
had it. After the other night, I was kind of a little hesitant about what was going to happen, but no, this worked out really well, and thank you very much for the opportunity.
This is awesome.
Talking to you. I love it. Just had a great time.
Yeah, definitely. I appreciate it. Maybe we could do this again soon and invite some more folks and have a bigger kumbaya, in other words. I don't know. So we'll play that. We'll go see where that bridge leads us, in other words. So, well, awesome. Well, I'm gonna stop this now, but stop the recording. But was there anything you wanna, I guess, last minute memory or something of Dragon Attack you'd like to share that Or is there, I guess I should ask, besides the memory, is there any other artwork that's not on Etsy right now that you have not yet shared that will be shared at some point because of, I didn't know if there was more.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I literally just got done finishing this illustration this week.
Okay.
And the illustration was like I said, it's for Jeffrey's book. It's for the cover, and the book is a retrospective of games from video games from 1992, and of course, probably the most famous one would be Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
So he contacted me to do the cover on the book. He thought, hey, that would be really cool if you could do a Mortal Kombat themed, cover.
Wow.
Done by the artist that did the original Mortal Kombat logo. How cool would that be? But I got a book that's about games from '92. So that's what we did. We decided to use Lord Raiden and Scorpion in the illustration. So what I'm going to be offering up very soon, like in the next day or so, is some prints of Lord Raiden and Scorpion, and I've got another print of both of them together in the same layout. So look forward to those. Yeah, they're ready to rock and roll.
Yeah, when you have time, send me a link or screenshot.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, I'm throwing that together this afternoon. Okay. I've got like 3 different jobs. I love it. Here's the thing: being a freelance artist, I didn't even notice that there's a pandemic going on. Okay.
Because you work from home, right? I'm assuming.
You're looking at it. This is where I worked 35 years, so nothing's really changed. I thought about it. I had to laugh. I said, there have literally been probably weeks where I didn't leave.
Yeah.
There's a couple of days where I literally didn't even leave the house because artists. We're like a dog with a bone.
Yeah.
You're working on a project that you eat, live, eat, drink, sleep that project, man. That's what you're doing.
Yeah.
Well,
that's awesome.
Great. I'm happiest when I'm working. I really am. My happiest moments really is. Even in the middle of the night when you're cranking, you got a deadline. You might think, boy, there's a lot of work. I'm really busting my ass on this. True enough, but you're doing art. And you're doing art for a living. Who can say that? I'm the luckiest man in the world. I really am.
Awesome.
Yeah. Best damn job ever.
It's a dream job. It's what it sounds for.
It really is.
Your unicorn, in other words. Yeah.
I found a unicorn. I've been riding the damn thing for 35 years.
Well, that's awesome.
That's just a horny horse.
Well, Paul, I appreciate all the time that we've had to talk.
Thanks, man.
Talk about things and whatnot, and look forward to seeing the artwork. Work with you outside of this, in other words, to get the other artwork, in other words, in my collection. But again, I'll post the links in my YouTube, and I'll share the YouTube video when it's brought. I'm going to try to get it within the next 24 hours up on YouTube. So share it, whatever you want to do with it. So I'm just
awesome, man, fantastic.
But thank you for this opportunity.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you for the opportunity. Peace, everybody. Love you. Stay safe. Be healthy. Hopefully, we'll see you at conventions soon.
Hopefully, real soon, but we'll see.
Yeah, no kidding. Take care, everybody. God bless.
You too. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.